Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Finish. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kopramanande, Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Today we're continuing our reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24. And we're taking up just after where we left off. Last class was on 5, so today we're on number 6. And this is Maitreya speaking to Vidura. Tasyāṁ bahu-tithe kāle Bhagavān Madhusūdana kārdamam vīryam āpanno jajñe gnir iva dāruṇi. We'll do the word for word and then come back to the chanting together, okay? Yes? We need a quorum. Tasyāṁ in Devahūti bahu-tithe kāle. After many years, Bhagavān, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusūdana, the killer of the demon madhu, kārdamam, of Kardama, vīryam, the semen, āpannaḥ, entered, jajñe, he appeared, agniḥ, fire, iva, like dāruṇi, in wood. Tasyāṁ bahu-tithe kāle Bhagavān madhusūdanaḥ kārdamam vīryam āpanno jajñe gnir iva dāruṇi. Please chant. Tasyāṁ bahu-tithe kāle Bhagavān madhusūdana kārdamam vīryam āpanno jajñe. Vaishnavis. Tasyāṁ bahu-tithe kāle Bhagavān madhusūdana kārdamam vīryam āpanno jajñe gnir iva dāruṇi. Translation. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusūdana, the killer of the demon madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devahūti, just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. Srila Prabhupada's Purport. It is clearly stated here that the Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he appeared as the son of Kardama Muni. Fire is already present in wood, but by a certain process, fire is kindled. Similarly, God is all-pervading. He is everywhere, and since he may come out from everything, he appeared in his devotee's semen. Just as an ordinary living entity takes his birth by taking shelter of the semen of a certain living entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the shelter of the semen of his devotee and comes out as his son. This manifests his full independence to act in any way, and it does not mean that he is an ordinary living entity, forced to take birth in a certain type of womb. Lord Nṛsiṁha appeared from the pillar of Hiraṇyakaśipu's palace. Lord Varāha appeared from the nostril of Brahma, and Lord Kapila appeared from the semen of Kardama. But this does not mean that the nostril of Brahma or the pillar of Hiraṇyakaśipu's palace or the semen of Kardama Muni is the source of the appearance of the Lord. The Lord is always the Lord, Bhagavān Madhusūdana. He is the killer of all kinds of demons, and he always remains the Lord, even if he appears as the son of a particular devotee. The word kārdamam is significant, for it indicates that the Lord had some devotional affection or relationship in devotional service with Kardama and Devahūti. But we should not mistakenly understand that he was born just like an ordinary living entity from the semen of Kardama Muni in the womb of Devahūti. I first offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who brought us everything: the holy name, Srimad Bhagavatam, the previous acharyas, association with devotees, 6 Goswamis, nectar devotion, prasadam. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. And to all the assembled devotees, Vansha kalpatarubhascha, kripa sindhave evacha, patitanam pavanibhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We'll go back over the verse and then we can have some conversation if you're up to it. Tasyāṁ bahu-tithe kāle Bhagavān Madhusūdana, kārdamam vīryam āpanno, jajñe gnir iva dāruṇi. Important word in the verse is āpanno, which comes from the root word āp, which means to enter. It is neutral, and then it depends on the context that it's used in. So I'm going to compare and contrast just for a moment this verse in which āpanno is prevalent, and another verse that you probably all know from the first canto, first chapter, 14th verse, which was spoken by the sages at Nṛsiṁha, in which they say, āpannaḥ samsritim gauranya navam vivishogranam tata sadya vimucheta yabhibheti swayam payam. Now why am I comparing? Because one of the themes of this verse, as Prabhupada gives in his commentary, thread, and also any of the previous acharyas who have commented on this verse, they take up at the comparing and contrasting the ways in which the Lord enters and which the jiva enters. Enter means inside, comes from Latin. And if you think about it as jivas, we are tatastha, we can go anywhere and be accommodated anywhere. Sarvagataha, living beings are everywhere, means they've entered here, there, and everywhere. So if you think about it in general terms, we're always entering somewhere. So this part of this verse, and a way to frame it and understand it, is the art of entering. We're always entering somewhere. Now the big question is, first, what's the implication of our entering various places? And what's the implication of the Lord entering various places? After all, he's called Vishnu, which means he's entered everywhere. Within the hearts of every living being, ekopya sora charitum jagaranda kotim yat shakti rasti jagaranda chayayaranta andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamari purusham tamam bhajami. Brahma confirms he's entered the atoms and every other particle in the cosmic manifestation. When to speak of the hearts of the living beings, Ishvara, what's the verse? Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridaya janatishtiti brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudrani maya. Yeah, entered the hearts of all living beings. So, in the verse from the first canto, āpannaḥ samsritim goram, the context is the soul has entered samsritim goram. Goram means it's horrible. And samsriti means the process of repeated birth and death. So, in the sense, āpannaḥ samsritim gauram, because the soul has mistakenly, albeit perhaps intentionally, entered into a horrible place and is undergoing repeated birth and death. Yanama vivishogranam tata sadyo vimucheta. The Lord has come in as an avatar of the holy name in order to save the living entity from that horrible condition. And in today's verse we have āpanno, which means that the Lord, who is sovereign over everything, he has no obligation to enter anywhere as the soul does. I'll enter into evidence the verse from Prahlad Maharaj from the 7th canto, in which he mentions that the soul enters various wombs. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deho papate striya pravishta udaram pumso reta kanashraya. Goes well with this verse because, in contrast, because the soul, after having errantly entered into the wrong hole, the material world, more about that in a minute, about entering holes. He's now karmana, he's subject to higher beings, daiva netrena, as if one's handcuffed, put in a police vehicle, sorry if this triggers anyone, and taken away to wherever they decide. Karmana daiva netrena janto deho papate means the soul has no say in it. Striya pravishta udaram pumsoreta kanashraya, and confirms also our theology that within not the semen, but the sperm, there is a soul that then comes into the womb of a woman, and then a body is manifested to accommodate that soul. Karmana daiva netrena. So there it is on one side, āpannaḥ samsritim gauram, the horrible condition that one has been forced to enter into. And although it's semantically neutral, the word āpannaḥ, by context we understand the soul sometimes enters into the horrible condition of material nature. And here we find, by contrast, that the Lord has entered into semen and now has come into the womb of Devahūti because he wants to, not because he was forced to. And it's also mentioned in this verse, notably, that he wanted to do because kārdamam. He had affection for Kardama and Devahūti because of their service. There he's appearing. So there we have the difference between us entering or Krishna entering. So Narada Muni mentioned, and I said I'd come back to this, the Hiranyakashipus, who are sons, 10,000 of them, of Daksha, who was trying to populate the universe and doing a pretty good job of it. He had 10,000 sons the first time. That's why he's called Daksha, expert at his service. And he had sent them off to do some austerities so that they could prepare themselves to also help populate the universe. However, when Narada Muni serendipitously met them, he noticed that they were highly qualified. He said, what are you going to waste perfectly good austerities and a perfectly good human life just populating the universe? Yeah, you should try to attain liberation. And he gave a riddle, because he could understand how intelligent they were. And the riddle, which is complex and has various parts which are not germane to this point right now, includes the metaphor of a hole. It's kind of scary if you've ever, as a kid, put your finger in the wrong hole and got lit up. Yeah? He says to the Hiranyakashipus, there is a hole. And if you enter that hole, or those have entered the hole, he says, It's known that they've not come back out again. They enter the hole in the material world. Of course, I'm giving it away. The Hayashvas had to figure it out for themselves, what he was talking about. And he said, they entered the hole, they descended to Patala. And there, it's understood that they couldn't come back out again. To me, that's scary. I'm slightly claustrophobic anyway. And thinking of a situation in which I go through a hole mistakenly and end up in a place where I can't get back out again. In fact, I went into a prison not too long ago to visit a person, side story here, who was chanting vigorously in jail and who had been sentenced to life without parole for double homicide, but who had found Prabhupada's books and become dedicated to, especially Lord Nityananda, his declared savior. And when I went in to visit, I was on a little bus going to the main prison, the heavy lockdown place, and the chaplain who was accompanying me said, oh, I was talking to him, but there were other guards on the bus. And they said, first time in here? I said, yeah. Actually, it wasn't, but... and then they said, don't worry, we got your back. And I think, why do you have to have my back? And when we got in, and there was a huge door I had to sign in, and then when they slammed the door, I thought, you do remember that I was part of that party out there, not this one. And there was a sense, natural sense from my solar plexus of impending doom. And so there's this sense of when one comes into the material world, this is what the Hayashvas intuited from Narada's talk. They could understand because they were sensitive. I mean, he said, there's a hole you go into, you can't come back out again. They felt that enough to give them the impetus to dedicate the rest of their lives to getting out of the whole of the material world. So there's only one hole you can enter where you don't regret it. And that's the hole that Narada also described. It has a dual meaning, entering the material world or leaving and going to the spiritual world. The material world is a series of holes that we enter into one after another. You hear reference in the Bhagavatam elsewhere. For instance, Narada in his prayers to Lord Nṛsiṁha says, Evam janam nipatitam bahi kupe kāma bikam ariyam prapatam prasanga. Kritvatmasa shurarshina Bhagavān grihito soham katam nivishujeta britya sevam. This, he says, I was following everybody else who are all falling into a big hole in the ground, and it was full of snakes and unlimited material desires. But Kritvatmasa shurarshina, because of my spiritual master, the representative of you, my Lord, Nṛsiṁha, I've refined myself, and now I know how not to fall in that hole. So here the Lord is entering very purposefully, and the soul who's uninformed may enter into holes that he or she may not be able to come out of. So the Bhagavad Gita gives us some useful advice about how not to enter the wrong holes. If you think about attention, the attention that we have as conscious beings, Krishna is saying, and I'm paraphrasing in the Bhagavad Gita, verse Jayato Vishyam Pumsam Sangat Teshu Bhajayate, Sangat Sangjayate Kama, Kama Krodho Bhajayate. Our sustained attention in any direction will determine our destiny. Jayato means if I contemplate something, that becomes a hole for me. And I'll enter into it. And I'll be implicated. Jayato Vishayam, looking at a particular object of the senses, a second too long. or for the wrong purpose, which is really the theme of Krishna consciousness, is to change one's purpose of looking at anything. Because if you break it, you buy it. As my parents used to tell myself and my brother when we were on vacation and we'd go into a gift shop, don't touch anything. I don't think we listened very well. And Krishna says, be careful what you touch in this world. Jayato. What are you touching with? Your glance. If you look at it, you meditate on it, it's yours. You get to keep it. Jayato vishayam pumsam sangasteshu. But now you have a sangha with it. It's attached to you, part of you. And thus begins a sequence. I love the word, consequence. You do something, come together with it, and then there's a sequence that unfolds in your life. So Krishna warns us, be careful what you look at. Our glance, or I should say, Krishna's glance and our gaze are categorically different. Actually, not so much, because we're both the same quality. It's just that Krishna's glance is creative, all-powerful, and pure, whereas if somebody has the intention, looking at the material nature, drifting into various scenarios of sense gratification, then the glancing power is different. So Mahavishnu begins the creation by his glance. As mentioned in Brahma Samhita, Mayaya Ramamanasya Naviyogasthaya Saha. He looks at the material nature, but he never is implicated by it. Mayaya Ramamanasya Naviyogas. There's no connection, no yoga with the material world, because he dispatches his internal potency to go there, and there's an interaction that's separate from him, arm's length. Whereas when we look at something, you break it, you buy it, you look at it, it's yours, you have to keep it, and you're implicated, and we're implicated by it. So there's this formula that Krishna gives by contact, cultivation, and time. We come in contact with many things, but how we cultivate them is the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Brahman yadaya karmani sangam tyakva karotya lipitena sapapena padma patram ivambasa. Again, the word sangam. He says, giving the metaphor of a lotus flower, that if you look at something, but your intention is to use it in Krishna's service, Brahman yadaya karmani sangam tyakva karotya, and you give up any idea that this is mine, then lipitena sapapena, you don't get implicated. Padma patram, it's like a lotus. In the water, the lotus is called Padmaja. It's born out of mud. Lives in the water, but it's impervious to water, and so is the soul, who is in Krishna consciousness because he or she sees that everything is to be used in Krishna's service. I'm coming along a logical path. I'm getting somewhere, I hope. So far, is it okay? Keep going or not? All right. So, then, the concept of avatara. Definitely prevalent in this verse and in this section, because Kapila is making his avatara. If we think of it in terms of holes, the avatara is the one who enters into the holes that we can't get out of. Otherwise, what's the use? Avatara has the implication of one who's outside the hole comes in just to deliver us because we can't get out ourselves. That's why when people realize they're in a hole and that they can't get out, and then they realize the presence of the avatara, they meet devotees or they read Bhagavad Gita, they have a conversion experience and tears come to their eyes. They have a conversion experience and tears come to their eyes. Because they think someone's come to save me. Even though I'm stuck in this hole, someone's come to take me out. And so Kapila's mission is to enter, he enters into the semen of Kardama, comes out from the womb of Devahūti, specifically to speak about Krishna consciousness, to save not only Devahūti but the whole world. And now, what is our mission? You think about, people are all in some hole. If you interview people anywhere, you'll find that they're stuck in some hole. Otherwise, why is there the saying, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging? It's practically everybody's in a hole somewhere, and very difficult to come out. And therefore, our mission is to represent the avatar. Who's the avatar in Kali Yuga? For 20 points. It's the holy name, right? Nama avatar comes as the holy name. And our mission then is to bring the holy name and put it in various holes. Where can you think of various holes that we can put the holy name? Okay, the ear holes comes up right away, right? Because that's a hole. 2 holes, in fact. And Prabhupada mentions in one of his purports that although they appear very small, inside there's a lot of space. There's a lot that can go in there. And if the holy name, for instance, enters the ear, then it can transform the heart of the soul, smash any of the unwanted desires within the heart, and so forth. Another hole I thought of was doors, because Prabhupada specifically says in a couple places in his purport that it's the mission of the Krishna conscious movement to go door to door. Has anybody ever gone door to door to distribute books? Anybody here gone trick-or-treating and gone door to door? Door to door. 90 times? Okay. According to Vijay Prabhu, who knows these things, he says it 90 times. Now, what happens when you knock on somebody's door? You open up and see which hole they fell into or fell through. The door's the hole, but inside, is there samsritim goram, miserable life? It's a revelation knocking on people's doors. You knock, knock, open it up, there's a bunch of birds flying around inside. Or there's a stench. Or maybe in the mode of goodness, still there's a sense of doom because I'm stuck in here. Griyamanda kupam, Prahlad Maharaj says, it's a hole that's hard to get out of. So imagine if you take a transcendental literature which has namanyanantasya shonkitanyat, it's written kirtan, and you put it in the hole. Knock, knock, knock. Door opens, throw it in. Boom. It's satisfying because people are in the hole, they can't get out. They can't even pay the mortgage, even though they're in there. They can't pay the mortgage, you got to go out every day. You barely have time for anything, and then they get it in another little box, a car. It's got holes in the form of windows. If you knock on somebody's window, put a book in there, then you've executed the mission of putting the hole in. Not completely, but that's the beginning of it. When people come in contact with Leela, with instruction, with association of devotees, they have contact. And then there's cultivation, and over time, they can come out of the hole, which is the greatest victory for the Lord in this world, as spoken by prayers personified Vedas. They said the Lord's most glorious pastime is saving the living beings from the whole of material existence. And I'll take a few reflections or questions so we can expand the conversation. Yes, Vijay Prabhu. We're attaching a microphone to the microphone. It's a little fuzzy thing, so don't be alarmed. Vijay Prabhu, are you connected or is this a problem? Okay, somebody fix it, please. We need tech support on aisle 1 as soon as possible. Just say it and I'll repeat it. I was talking about holes in doors. There's a Sankirtan pastime. There's a devotee who was going door to door, and he knocked on this door. He knocked, and there was no answer. And then somehow he could tell there was somebody in there. He kept knocking, and a lady answered the door. And she said, "Don't bother me, I'm busy, I'm busy." And she was getting ready to close the door, but he put his foot in the door. Huh?
Haribol. Side.
20 minutes later,
Hare Krishna. So, she was going to shut the door, and he put his foot in between the door and the wall. She couldn't close it, and then he slipped the Bhagavad Gita into the opening there. And she said, "My God, I can't believe it. The Bhagavad Gita." And then she opened the door wider, and she said, "This is what I was busy doing." There was a chair, and there was a rope there for hanging herself. She was just getting ready to hang herself. She said, "You've given me the Bhagavad Gita. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to sit and I'm going to read this. Krishna just saved my life." We have to enter a lot of holes. There's a lot of doors to enter.
well, Prabhupada mentioned in a poem before he came to America that people were in their homes, could say, hanging around. And they were looking down the street through the window. Prabhupada wrote this, and he said, and they're wondering, when are Nitai and Gaur going to come and save me? Prabhupada's interpretation of the lonely soul stuck in a hole, waiting for rescue. The Lord's so kind, comes to the material world, pervades everything. And that's another theme of the verse about the pervasiveness of the Lord and the metaphor of fire and wood. It's in the purport, right? Say yes. So there's a verse that explicates that, or that's parallel. It's a metaphor from first canto, second chapter, 32nd verse. Yata yavahito avanir darushveka soyonishu naneva pativishvatma bhuteshu cha tata puman. Where Sutta Goswami is talking about the process of devotional service and how a soul may be saved from the material world. And he says that that fire is dormant within wood. It's already inside. So similarly, the Lord is already there within everything, and so is bhakti. So just as wood just needs friction for it to conflagrate, so similarly, the souls of the world just need a little association for that bhakti to awaken. If there's a spark there and we can fan it, then it will grow into a flame, a fire, and then they'll awaken. And so there's no greater happiness than to dedicate one's mind to increasing the flame within one's own heart so that one can go out and meet other people, and fire begets fire. Just like in olden days, days of yore, when people had stoves, they would sometimes have to restart the fire within their stove because it's pre-matches days. It was hard to start fires. And so they had these little boxes with a stick on the end. And if your fire went out, you go to somebody else's house whose fire was going, and they'd give you an ember from their fireplace. And you take it back and put it into the kindling in your stove, wood stove, and then the fire would start again. So in a similar way, those who have a flame burning in Krishna consciousness, who bring it to other people. Bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. As Bhagavatam says, bhakti begets bhakti. Where do you get bhakti? From somebody who has it. So that flame can light other flames. So we're trying to light up the world. It's our mission. And the concept of seeds is very important. It's also a good transition into the idea of how everything comes from subtle to gross. When Lord Vishnu glances over the material world, I've often thought about what a glance is anyway. Have you ever thought about it? Well, why don't you think about it for a second? Try glancing at somebody and see what happens. I'm getting no reaction from my wife, but if you're driving on the road, at least in America, and you look out your window of the car next to you, they'll maybe run you off the road. So why are you looking at me? They're hit with something, but it's not electricity. It's not one of the elements of the material world. It's consciousness. It's will being transferred from one place to another. It's the seed that starts the material world when Vishnu glances over this world. Everything starts from subtle to gross. And when we are purified by chanting, hearing, and the association of devotees, contact, cultivation, and time, CCT, contact, cultivation, and time, then there's a way in which our glance is infused with some power. How about that verse? Give me that verse. I'm going to read you something that will confirm this, a verse and something Prabhupada said about those who've, oh, thanks. If somehow, wait a minute, that's not it. Here it is at the bottom, got it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, influenced by the merciful devotee's attempt to deliver fallen souls, enlightens the people in general from within by his causeless mercy. I'll say it again. This is from 429.46. Purport, Srimad Bhagavatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, influenced by the merciful devotee's attempt to deliver fallen souls, enlightens the people in general from within by his causeless mercy. Means our glance is willful because it's consciousness. And if we align our consciousness with Krishna's consciousness, that the mission is to be a representative of the avatar, to go into holes. Some devotees have entered into countries where they weren't allowed. People are stuck in there with a despot ruling over them. I'm not just talking about America. All the Americans are laughing. And then, but everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, the souls are in dire situation. If we represent Krishna, we represent Srila Prabhupada, whose sole mission, he entered into the whole of Boston Harbor and then New York City. That'll swallow you up. But because his gaze, his glance was perfect, because it was in perfect resonance mixed metaphor because it's sound, but fact is, wherever he went, wherever he looked, people were transformed, just as when Vishnu looks at the world and is transformed. So those who represent Krishna, the avatar, and who glance at people mercifully, knowing that they can deliver the message of Lord Chaitanya and give the holy name as was given to them, and in purity pass it on to others, then the fire within their hearts will also conflagrate. And then the second point Prabhupada makes, he says, the devotee prays in his mind, "O Lord, please accept this person and deliver him from samsara." Actually, that's from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that should be our prayer. So even as we're teaching Krishna consciousness here, there, and everywhere, we're careful not to talk to people who are inimical. Ishvare tadadineshu bali sheshu dusatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. We should give all love to Krishna. We should make friendship with the devotees. We should pour in mercy to the innocent, and we should avoid the envious. But our acharyas say, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, you should pray for them even as you avoid them, that you can affect change in their hearts. Let's have a couple more comments or questions. Yes, Prabhu. Center, right in the middle of everybody.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. As inspirational a class as always. Thank you very much. I had a question, which is that having come in Krishna consciousness, we sometimes also find ourselves in different kinds of holes as sadhakas. And the most dangerous are the holes which we don't realize are holes. So how do we really, apart from Vaishnava association, in terms of introspection, how do we understand that we are in a hole? In seemingly devotional settings, but it's still a hole.
I can tell you how I feel it personally. To realize that I'm in a hole is to associate with those who are more advanced, which is not hard for me to find. And normally when I come into the association of a more advanced person, I notice how more intensely engaged they are, and it makes me want to be more intensely engaged. And I may notice, I've developed this, that along the way. It's easy to drift. The material world is constantly testing us so that we can develop our resolve to not be taken away by Maya, but to constantly stay in touch with Krishna. And we have to balance in our life. One of the ways that is helpful is to study how to make a comeback. I once did a lecture called The Anatomy of a Fall Down. It was on a Wednesday night Bhagavad Gita class, which was usually sparsely attended because it's a work night. But I remember coming in for the Gita class entitled Anatomy of a Fall Down, and it was packed. And I looked at the subject and I was like, oh, that's why you guys are here. Popular subject. I later changed it to Failure is the Pillar of Success. More optimistic title. I didn't get as many people, but I felt better about it. And a revelation I had in studying it is that progress in any discipline is marked by a series of comebacks. We have to be ready to make a comeback at every moment. There's a verse, Jata Shrada Makatasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu Dukkha. Krishna says, I'll paraphrase because it's 2 long verses. Veda dukkhatmakam kamams parityage parishvara. This is not paraphrasing. Tato bhajeta mam prita shraddha lurjadanishchaya jushamanams tatam kamams dukho darkams jagariyan. Krishna says, you'll find yourself in a position when you have faith in the process of devotional service, but still pratyage pyanishvara, you don't have the power to follow it properly. And he says, continue, because you should know that you're very dear to me. And at the end of it, he says, Gariyan. You can be a little remorseful, but not too much. Just enough to motivate you to make a comeback. And if you think about japa, you could take every bead as an opportunity to come back. Because if you're attentive to one bead and think, did I concentrate? And then you realize, I had no idea I was chanting, even though my mouth was moving. You can make a comeback on every bead. And if you think of anything you're doing day to day as a way to make a comeback and stay humble and hungry, and think, how can I keep coming back no matter what happens? Garayan, a little remorseful, but not too much, just like hing. If you use too much, you ruin the preparation. Enough so you can't see it on your fingers. That's enough. Last points, because we got to go.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, Prabhu, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
As a householder and depend full-time book distribution, so for us, as your seminar we hear, it's a morning program, sadhana, japa, so that we follow as a mechanical, but when books comes, we become very happy and we feel pleasure of Krishna consciousness while distributing books, and sometimes we think that we are chanting not attentively, but we feel that this because of book distribution things, Prabhupada recognizes and we can go back home back to whatever. Will that be the shortcut of, or because I am not getting taste in chanting, but still I am mechanically doing because of book distribution. I have to complete my rounds properly, but by mouth I'm chanting, but not focusedly.
I got it. Well, first of all, you're the happiest person I've ever met. Sorry, I just had to tell you. And the other one, we should always chant with attention as much as possible, even though it's true. Shushu shroshadatanasya vasudeva kataruchi syadmahat sevayabi prapunya tirta nishevanat. When we serve, we get impetus for more hearing, more chanting, and we feel enlivened. So both, they go together. Rice is a good food. I can say that here in Bengal. I'm not in California where I have to say quinoa. So rice is a good food, yes? Yes. Dal is a good food, right? You put two together, you get a superfood, according to Jamuna's cookbook in the section on rice. You can look it up. 42% more nutrition because there's synergy between the two. So when you hear and chant and you distribute books or give mercy to other people, those two things together make super sadhana. It's practically guaranteed that you're going to make advancement when you have those two together in life. Even if it's a little bit, you can just go out at least once a month.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Vaisesika Prabhu ki.
Last one, and then I got a couple announcements to make. You may be wondering why we have all these Chaitanya Charitamritas here. And what else we got in store for you. Go ahead, please. Right here.
Another excellent class. Thank you so much. My question was, what's the inner shift required to release negative association, not just change your external company?
When you start to really like devotees, when you look at them and say, like, I just want to look at them. They look so nice. And you just start, you have a feeling that you're improving by being around them. And you like it, and you don't want to lose it. When you have that sense, so there's a kind of fear that you develop. This is something Prabhupada talks about in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, with Yashoda. When Kamsa was present, she was afraid that Krishna would be killed by Kamsa. So she was always protective and in fear. And Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and says, this fear is very important in the life of a developing devotee. We should always be afraid that we're going to lose our Krishna consciousness. And therefore, when we get around people who are not Krishna conscious and who are doing everything willy-nilly, then we have a sense of, I don't want to be willy-nilly. I want to be parampara. I want to follow these Vaishnavas. Thank you for such an important question. And speaking of following parampara, I was going to point to this side too. We just have a bottle of water. But on this side, we have the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. You may or may not know that every year, coming up to Gaur Purnima, we have a silent marathon. And today, I'd like to sponsor a set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritas on behalf of Prahladananda Swami. I'm personally doing it on your behalf because he's literally gives me joy in my heart whenever I see him. He's been in Krishna consciousness for 60 years and always engaged in Krishna consciousness. And because you fill up my heart, I'm sponsoring a set to be given to some poor person stuck in a hole somewhere in your name. Hare Krishna. And that act of charity only cost me 4,000 rupees only, which is nothing. And so we have this marathon called Be a Gardener. You don't know that much about it because we try to keep it on the lowdown only for people who are very connoisseurs of spiritual life, who want the best. They want the best of the best because of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's Amrita. It's Amrita with a little camphor in it mixed together. It's for connoisseurs only. So you needn't even look this way if you want to stay in a basic state of life. If you dare glance at the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm warning you, the golden color of this and the sound vibration that comes from this, which includes Prabhupada's urgency to make everybody Krishna conscious all over the world, following the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will envelop you and you'll never be able to get free from it and you'll go back to Godhead directly. So please, don't look. Scroll. Everyone scroll while I'm saying this. Huh? Yes. So what we have here, okay, is opportunity. Every year we give this opportunity right before Gaur Purnima. If you'd like to sponsor between 1 and say 100 or 10,000 sets of Bhagavatam. They're only 4,000 rupees, which is nothing. And so you can put up your hand, we'll write down your name. Am I doing it right? And there's forms to be filled out at a table back here. You'll get credit for this. You will either give you the set and you can distribute it or read it yourself and put one in every room of your house, or we have a channel already open to distribute sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita to people all over the world who need them. So I already started because I love Pralanananda Swami so much. I wanted to give him a set of Bhagavatam, sponsor a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas on his behalf. And is there anybody else who would like to sponsor a set? Okay, somebody take the microphone. Yes. You take the mic and tell who's sponsoring. Navina Prabhu is going to help me out because his brain is
Rameshwar Prabhu, how
sharp.
many? That's 10 or how many?
Okay, he's sponsoring 20,000 is all I'm hearing. Okay, message received. Okay.
How many?
10. 10 from Rameshwar Prabhu.
10 for Rameshwar. Haribol.
Okay.
Padri Narayan Maharaj. That's 5?
One set for Badrinath Maharaj. Haribol. You got to say Haribol
like
really
it.
loud. That's what keeps it going. Okay.
Haribol.
Haribol! Haribol. Say
2
Haribol.
sets, yes.
Really
Haribol.
loud, really loud. Okay.
Kishori Mataji, 2 sets.
We
Who
only
else?
have about 60 seconds left, so...
Lokanath Maharaj, how many? 108?
25.
108?
10 sets. Haribol!
Lokanath Maharaj, 10 sets.
Jai Maharaj.
Akrurnath, 5 sets.
Haribol! It's only about 30 seconds left.
Pushpavan Prabhu, 2 sets.
Haribol Pushpavan Prabhu. Way to go.
Anyone else? 10 sets, Canada.
Haribol!
What's his name? GVC.
Indriyesh Gaur.
Indriyesh Gaur Prabhu. 10 sets. Well, who else? 10 sets.
Kunti Devi Dasi. 2 sets.
Wait.
Haribol.
Kunti 2. What's her name? Hamsa Priya, 10 sets.
Haribol! That's a lot.
How many? 1 sets. 4. Alanath.
From the Brahmacharis.
Brahmacharis from the UK.
Hey,
Haribol.
not just UK, they're from London. That's the London
Maharaj.
gang over there. These guys are fired up. Okay.
1 set. Your name, please?
Ashram
Ashram
Swami
Maharaj,
Ki
1 set.
Jai. Haribol.
Who else? Come on. Narottam Priya, one set.
Haribol Narottam Priya Prabhu. Haribol.
Mataji. How many? Name? Nikunja Bihari, Mataji,
Devi
one
Dasi
set.
ki Jai.
Haribol.
Okay,
Somebody
we're running
else.
out of time.
Mathuresh Prabhu, one set. One set. Varāha Shyam Prabhu, one set.
Haribol.
Haribol. How many? Name. Adam, one set.
Hey, Adam.
Haribol.
Okay, we're really running out of time, so we're going to have to count down.
Yes. One set. Name. Rohini Nandana, one set.
Way to go, Rohini.
How many? Haribol.
Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, 6. We already got cash from
One.
Bhajan Ryan Maharaj.
Name?
Here,
Can't hear a word.
Bhajan Ryan Maharaj.
Amrit Janeja, one set. Haribol.
Haribol!
Who else?
I'm going to count down from 10, and after I get to 0, then it's the opportunity is over. So,
Nagapatni, how many? One set.
Haribol, Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna.
Shyamamai,
Shobhamai.
one set.
Haribol,
Haribol.
Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4,
Anuttama Prabhu.
Krishna 3, Krishna 2,
One set.
1,
Anuttama.
Krishna point 5.
Anuttama Prabhu, one set. Haribol.
Haribol, Nuttama Prabhu. Krishna point 025.
Acharya, one set.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Now, for all of you who sponsor, go straight through here, right past this entryway, and there's a table there with very friendly people waiting to greet you, and a little chart. You can put your name, put the sponsor number on it, and they'll even accept a phone pay, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Diners Club, Carte Blanche, whatever you have, we'll take it. And we also have a special gift for all the sponsors today at the table. There's a special gift for all the sponsors, a special gift for all the sponsors, and a special gift for everybody. So you could be back there. We have a little gift we want to give you. There's one more that wants to sponsor. 5 sets from Radha Jivan. Radha Kripa, 5 sets. Okay. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madhav Dastasaki, Shri Shri Prahlad Nṛsiṁha. If you so desire, please empower everybody who came to class today, everybody who thought about coming to class today but slept through it accidentally, that they may become empowered to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world and be joyful for the rest of their lives, climb out of the hole of the material world and go back home, back to Godhead, dancing all the way. Thank you for considering our request. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpadabhishya kripasinabhe vichapatitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Gifts for all our friends. Just come right back here and we'll accommodate you right away.